What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Hope everyone's having a great week. We're on Hump Day again. That's because we're doing it on Wednesdays now, not the beginning. Um, if you guys just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Caesar, I know it's been a while, right? And I don't know if we have to knock the dust off it, if we got to, clear out the cobwebs or whatever we need to do to find that one statement that you used to do really good at and practice every single day. And I think that maybe, just maybe, this is my thoughts, that you've been practicing this whole time while you've been no. Okay, but knock the dust off it.
The Hope Shot Clarity Statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common. Recovery is a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there, and thank you for being a part of our Hope Shot family.
Hey, thanks, Caesar. Man, you did really well.
Yeah, I just had to find it.
Bicycle.
Yeah, she's like riding bicycle. Doesn't change. It's still
hasn't been that long. Like, it hasn't been years. I'm all right.
It freaking feels like it, Caesar. I don't know if I'm having withdrawals or what. I don't know what it is, bro, but I'm an itching. You know?
Look, I literally saw all of you this morning, so it's a great day. I get to see you twice.
It is a great day.
And my kids spilled syrup all over the beautiful Always Center.
Yeah, and it was just cleaned last night too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they weren't the only one. I saw lots of people that might spill syrup.
And it won't be the last time that happens. Every time it gets clean, it's either coffee. More coffee. Yeah, tons of coffee. Let's see what's up, some people. What's up? Hey. Nothing. No. What's up, Katie? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And tell Katie I said what's up too. And Helen, good to see you. Welcome back. And Debbie says it's today's Sunday. Yes. Yes. Why not?
We don't know.
Yeah.
One of them days.
Why not?
It's Sunday to us.
Had Justin Mop and everything. Yeah, it was. All right. So tonight we have a great topic, and Caesar brought this to us.
Nope. Who brought it to us?
The
It's brought to us by the Hope Shot app.
Wait.
Wonderful resource you can use if you download it onto your phone. Inspiration for the day, help staying clean, sober. It's all right there. All the resources you can think of at your fingertips. The Hope Shot app.
Bro, you nailed that one. And with that, thanks to our sponsor.
Yeah.
It is Joy Can't Be Bought. That's a good one. And you know what, Caesar? Since you're all in the unmuted
Just
and all that.
because I found it on the Hope Shot app doesn't mean that I had anything to say about it. No, I'm kidding. So it's Joy Can't Be Bought. I feel like it's a lesson you're in long-term recovery or you're in and out trying to figure this thing out. It's my experience is all the times I tried before this thing stuck, I tried to rebuild my material life and never address anything on the inside and never build a spiritual life. So I would get out of a rehab. I think I really did something, like, man, I just stayed, clean and sober for 6 months. Well, it was 6 months in a lockdown facility that I was supervised. So did I really do that much? No, not really. And then I would get out and I'd get hyper focused on getting a job, getting possessions, and getting what I thought it meant to have my life back. Place to live, new clothes, those things. And as fast as I built it up, I burned it down because nothing had changed inside of me. I was the same broken person trying to fill this void with material things, and that void can't be filled by material things. It was a spiritual hole that only, in my case, I can't speak for everybody, that a God of my understanding could fill. And I was laughing. When I finally got to my last rehab where this thing stuck and I asked for help, And this gentleman guided me through step work and really just kind of taught me how to live, which is, if you've never done it, it's one of the most awkward things you can do in your entire life, is basically walk across a room and ask a stranger to, hey, can you teach me how to live? Because I have no idea how. It's worse than junior high school prom. But, I wanted to live. I didn't want to die. I did it. And, we did step work a couple times in his house, and he had like this, mind you, it's been a while now. So like a 65-inch curved TV was a super big deal back then. And I was like, oh man, look at that TV and this and that. And he was like, oh man, don't get it twisted. He's like, that thing brought me joy for about 5 minutes. And then they came out with a bigger one. And all of a sudden I didn't like my TV anymore. And I didn't really understand what he meant. I was like, man, you spoiled brat. I couldn't wrap my head around it because I had zero possessions. I had the clothes that I came into rehab with. But we started doing the work. And there was a woman coming in, and I've said this probably 100 times on this podcast. She was talking about how you get good self-esteem. I couldn't relate to how to get good self-esteem because I carried so much guilt and shame around for so many years. And she had such a simple answer. She's like, you have to do esteemable acts to get good self-esteem. I was like, that's novel, and I've just learned over time, doing the work, doing the next right thing. And once I got a hold of this thing, giving it back to people, that's where the joy and all my self-worth and all the things that make me okay with being me come from acts of service. It comes from helping people. And no matter how successful I get in life, like monetarily, I promise you those things don't bring me joy. Buying a bigger house just gives me more anxiety. It's not more joy. It's just bigger bills, and it's nice to have security, but it's a joy to be of service to your community. True joy. I was talking to somebody the other day, which it blows my mind. I've been in Pasco County now for almost 11 years. And when I lived in Tampa and I was a complete train wreck getting arrested every other week, I thought of Pasco County as like this dump. And I end up moving here when I get sober. And I've had nothing but an incredible experience in this county because you kind of attract what you put out there. And I only had good intentions when I moved here. And my name in this town is only associated with good things. And to me, that is the weirdest thing ever, because I've got a solid 37 years of putting it out there and having a horrible name, being embarrassed of who I was. But these principles and putting other people in front of myself, that's what's changed everything. The fact that I can think about other people and put their needs before mine most of the time. I'm not going to say I do this perfectly, because sometimes I get in my own way. Let me rephrase that. A lot of times I get in my own way and I get in my head, but when I'm thinking about somebody else and what I can do for them, it seems like God's in the background just sewing up my little problems and making them go away. When I'm hyper focused on what my problems are and me, and self, the problems get bigger. And I have to have that evidence on a daily basis that if I want a life of joy, that life looks like a life of service. It doesn't get shinier. It's service equals joy, or self equals anxiety and frustration and all those things that come with it. You can't buy yourself joy. You can buy yourself stuff. So, if you're new, if you're not new, and you're on this recovery path with us, and the monetary stuff hasn't come to you, the cash and prizes haven't come, that's not the end game. I've seen a lot of people that the promise of your needs being met are confused with getting what I want. And since I started working this program and really putting all the principles into action. I haven't needed anything. I've had a lot of wants, but I've always had food. I've always had shelter, and I've had friends and people that would give the shirt off their back. And I never had that before until I lived this life. I've never had true friends that would literally show up for you any time of day. On this screen, when my house flooded, showing up and just busting their ass inside my house, not because they had to or because I called them, because that's the type of people I surround myself with today. And that outweighs any monetary or stupid TVs or whatever we're measuring success outside of this with. I'm not real big on the next big thing. Like I'm not big on cars. I'm not big on that kind of stuff, but it's easy to go down that slippery slope of believing that you can buy the life that'll make you happy. And it's just not true. So that's all. I thought it was a really good topic because we get so lost in the material stuff and comparing ourselves with somebody else that has more stuff. And, oh, their house is better. I must not be doing it right. That's not what it's about.
Yeah. And that's a slippery slope to be on, man, to keeping up with Joneses, man. It gets expensive.
You and I have talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
I had that conversation, and what's really funny is years ago, we would look at people who have been solid citizens for 25 years and be like, why don't we have that? Because they've been solid citizens that have owned our businesses for 25 years. What do you mean? Why don't we have that?
Yeah, they have a track record of not burning it all down to the ground. And kind of,
yeah, they didn't hit restart 15 times.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you were talking about the guy that wants the stuff, like the person out there that always wants the stuff. It's like we have to become responsible to be responsible. You know what I mean? With the responsible things. And like, man, I was talking about last time, it's like I got my kids a go-kart. It cost me $400 something. It's like, I don't want them things. You know what I mean? I look at all these people in these toys and I'm like, man, I want me a toy. And then I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want
No,
it.
you know what? I want to be able to lay my head down at night and go to sleep and feel all right. That's really all I want. And more stuff usually makes me not be able to sleep at night because I got to pay for that stuff and figure out how to work harder and make more money. And then, it's like all of that starts running through your head. So,
yeah,
it's just not where it's at.
It's the rat race. And we can get ahead of ourselves. And it's like, do we even really want that stuff? And like, we this whole thing, this journey we've been on, right? And this the addiction to success, you have to see what success looks like for you. It's individualized, just like the journey of recovery. Everybody has their own dreams and their own goals, and I can look at somebody else's dreams and think they're mine too, but they're really not. So I have to really think to myself, do I really want it? And I always tell everybody, everything that somebody has, there's a price that has to be paid for that said thing. No matter what, it's a value. It's a trade of value. I have to trade value of my time for working in order to get this said thing, but then I could keep running myself ragged, trying to keep up with these said things and just always try and just keep up, and you can literally kill yourself by doing this stuff, by trying to keep up with the madness, and then you get farther in debt, and farther down the rabbit hole. When does it end?
So when you get into recovery and you're doing the next right thing and you're employed, things are going to get better. They just are. But what happens is when the blessings start rolling in, I see people take their eyes off of what got them there. Mm-hmm. The meetings, the service, all the things that got them to that point. Now the stuff and the things have taken your whole life over. And now I have to work double shifts to be able to pay for the four-wheelers and to pay for this and and it's the very blessings that they prayed for that are their demise 6 months down the road because they can't handle the pressure of what they just boxed themselves into. So if you're not careful, your blessings will become a boomerang that can turn into what actually chops your life up.
And this is not just for people that are in recovery. This is human.
That's human nature, period.
We
take it to extremes though.
Exactly. But I've seen a lot where business, we get, especially with the, trying to make it in this world, right? We get into like, we want everybody. I mean, nowadays, everybody starts businesses, everybody wants to run their own business, be their own boss and all that stuff. And a lot of people will get ahead of themselves trying to grow some. Listen, I get in the same thing. Like, we grow too fast and we can implode. And I get like that too, and it's like, sometimes we have to back it up and just think, what is a good investment? What is it? What is, for one thing, if I'm not investing in myself, it's a bad investment. I have to invest in myself and for everything else to follow, everything, because I can get caught up in chasing something and I don't know what I'm chasing. I have no clue what I'm chasing, but I will chase it. And it will freaking be catastrophic for someone like me, and that's why I definitely continue always seeking something, not chasing, seeking to understand why I tick the way I do, because every evolution, you're going to tick a new way. Every evolution of you. Where I was last year ain't the same Justin. I got a new model this year, baby. It's 2025. I got to learn this thing.
You know what? And if you have a habit of laying around and opening up Amazon or going on Facebook Marketplace to fill that hole, just go to the Hope Shot app. There's all kinds of meetings and meditations, daily readings. It's amazing. You can fill yourself up with something good instead of something material. All right, I'm not going to do that anymore, but it's true.
By Cesar Rodriguez. Oh man, you're good at this, man.
This podcast brought to you by the Hope Shot app.
Absolutely, the ease of use makes it a wonderful tool while you're laying in bed. Hope on tap with the Hope Shot app.
Oh damn, that's a good one. So, hey, I meant to do this in the beginning, but I got that joy down in my heart. Where?
Down in my heart.
Where? Christina, you're already on it. Let's do this. What you got on joy can't be bought?
Yeah. So, joy can't be bought. That is, this is a great topic, and I had to learn this in early recovery, but I also learned this. It seems over and over again, right? Every time I think this is going to make me feel better or that's going to make me feel better. I remember in early recovery when I first gave my son up for adoption, I could see like all the things that I was trying to do to comfort myself, right? I always joke about this. I had bought this chocolate cake, right? And because I was like, oh yeah, I just want a piece of chocolate cake. And I kept going out and having another piece of chocolate cake, right? And then the chocolate cake was gone. And then I went to the store next day, I bought another chocolate cake, like the one with the little Hershey's all the way around it. I bought a chocolate cake for 3 or 4 days in a row. And it took me after I was like, oh my gosh, I got to stop going and buying this chocolate cake. But I was doing it because I thought it was comforting me, but it was just like, it wasn't, because I could not get enough. Right. And the amount of chocolate cake that I ate was like ridiculous. And then I remember, like, even with the shopping, right, I would go and I would want to buy a cute outfit, but then the outfit would be like in all these different colors and I couldn't just pick a color. I felt like I needed them in all the colors. Right. And I was just like, it was crazy. And I would go home, and I remember I would go home and the outfits would stay in the bag on the thing. Right. So I was just thinking that it was going to make me feel good. Right. And I just bring it home and I'd sit it there, and then I wouldn't go even get into them for like a week or two. Right. Because I thought that in the moment, it was like an instant gratification. Right. But when I would go home and I would be in my room, I was still sitting there with self. Right. Knowing that, like, I was very empty. Right. I was very lost. This was early recovery, and then I dove. It was right after I kind of like manifested. I used to be online, you know, with the whole texting and stuff and thinking that filled me but had to learn that those were all distractions too. And when I started feeling my true fulfillment was when COVID hit and I had to be at a meeting. I went to a meeting every single day because the kids were home on homeschool. And so every day I was at a meeting and we would meet out in a parking lot. And I didn't miss a meeting for probably like 3 or 4 months straight. And I started to kind of like get close to people in recovery because before that, I would go to a meeting, I would get there, and when it was over, I would leave, you know. And then it was during COVID that I picked up my first service commitment with my first home group. And it was during that time that I decided to pick up the 12 steps, right? And I started, you know, working a little bit of 12 steps. And then it was shortly after that when I started getting more involved with more service work, like sharing my story and stuff. And I started to see that in helping others, right, that it just kind of lit something in me. And thank God for service, because it's probably been the one thing that has grounded me in my recovery, because I have gone, I've gone like this, you know, I have my moments and my seasons where I get in my own way and I'll sit right there in my bedroom, right? Because I have this home now that I'm so proud of, right? I just love it so much. But then I'll just sit in here and I get like, you know, in this thinking where like, oh, I worked so hard, I deserve to just sit here. And I notice, like, when it goes to writing my gratefuls, how my day was the day before plays a big role in my gratefuls. If I got up and I didn't do all my things, if I didn't, you know, do the things that, first of all, like my slow mornings where I get my mind right is so important, right? But if I don't do those things, and if I don't go to work and I don't reach out to some people and give some uplifting, and I don't have like a good audio book on my car radio, I leave my car stereo on Joy FM. The kids try to get me to change it all the time. I'm like, nope, it's staying right here. I need all that joy, you know? And then if I come straight home after work and I take my shoes off and I get in my recliner and I sit there and I watch TV, the next morning when I go to do my grateful, I'm like, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? I'm like, you know, and they're so like superficial. Like, I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my recovery, right? But if I go to a meeting, or if I go to a community event where I'm being of service and I'm volunteering, or if I go with a sponsee and I do some step work, or I show up and I do a commitment at my home group, my gratefuls are full of gratitude, right? I have gratitude in my heart because the day before was fulfilled with like meaningful things, right? And it's taken me a minute to kind of get a real clear idea of what leaves me filled and what's instant gratification that doesn't leave me filled, right? What's just kind of like feeding something very temporary. So like my time, like when I fill out things that says, what's your hobby? I don't even really have a hobby. If I'm not working or I'm not being in recovery and going to meetings, I'm at a community event, right? I'm being of service. Even my networking for my job has shifted for me and has become more fulfilled because I don't walk into the room and go, okay, who can I get business from? I go into a room and I'm like, okay, let me be a greeter. Let me help out doing this. Like, I have like a purpose, right? That I go there and then I leave there feeling good because I didn't walk in like with some idea of what I thought I needed to take from it, right? I go in there to be of service. I have natural conversations. People naturally gravitate towards me, you know, and I'm not even thinking about me in the moment. I'm thinking of like, how can I help you? Right. And I leave there like, oh, that was a really good meeting. That's a really good meeting. So like my days today, like I know how my weeks have to, like, I have to make sure that I'm hanging out with my family during the week, right? I have to make time for my mom. I have to make time for my sister. I have to make time for myself, right? I used to think, oh, we can't do anything as a family because I don't have any money in the bank account, when we could easily put the collars on the dogs and take a walk up to Sun West, me and my teenagers, and come back and feel absolutely amazing. Right? Absolutely amazing. And I didn't have to spend any money, you know, and I kind of get like caught up in that. I'll load the kids up and take a trip to Busch Gardens, and it'll be the worst day of my freaking life. It's the most stressful. By the end of it, I'm like, let's go. This is, the kids have attitudes. Everybody, I'm driving home. Everybody's passed out in the back with their temper tantrum. I'm like, this was BS. I didn't have to do all this. And then I catch resentments on my kids because it's like, I just, spent this whole day to plan it for you.
You have the expectation that they're going to be grateful. Yeah. And when they start whining, you're like, after what I just did for you, do you know how expensive Busch Gardens is?
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah. And, I always talk about this in early recovery. Well, probably like year 3, year 4, I had a nice chunk of money, right? I was working, I was saving up money, and then I got some credit cards and I was able to purchase my first home. But that year 4 was a rough year for me because I pretty much almost burnt my life into the ground clean. I could not control all these things that I thought that I needed to buy and all these things that I thought I needed to do. Right. And I found out, I always joke about the hockey game. I went to the hockey playoff game, and I spent a good chunk of money, and I ended up having to go to 8 more playoff games after that and max out my credit card. I'm still paying on that credit card. Right. And the thing is I can't even enjoy those games because in my mind, I know that I'm digging a hole. I know on the outside, I'm trying to make it look like, I'm like, who's coming with me? I'm taking people, like, look at me, look, but in my mind, I'm like, ooh, yeah, now, so today, like $500, almost like I have $500 that goes to credit cards and I have $500 that goes to a loan. So potentially every month, $1,000 of my money goes paying back debt, and, it's a hard pill to swallow because I thought that I needed all these things that I didn't need. Right. And I'll tell you what, like if I have a boatload of money, I'll spend it all, but I could have a little chunk of money and still make it paycheck to paycheck and be just fine. So, yeah, like my joy comes from being of service to others. My joy comes from community events. My joy comes from showing up at a meeting and hugging people and talking to them and sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And them, when they come up and say, oh, that thing that you said that really helped me, those are the things that bring me home and make me feel like I accomplished something, like I helped somebody. And those are the ones that fill my gratefuls, that feed my gratefuls the next day. So yeah, that's a really good topic.
Pancake breakfast. And pancake breakfast, right?
Oh yeah, that was good. For the first time for 2 days, it's gonna get better.
It was good.
People
it was good, man.
They don't want to eat pancakes. Everybody's carnivore, so we gotta throw some bacon and sausage on there or something. Maybe some fruit.
I'm with you on that now. Like we could do bacon, egg, and pancake breakfast, and I'd have hung out for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'd have called in to work bacon and eggs.
We should the night before make some breakfast burritos with some sausage.
Listen, if we plan it ahead of time, like all of us could make 12, 16 burritos ourselves and then have them fully ready to go. And all you got to do is put them on the griddle and toast them up to melt the cheese. Now, if I make 16, I get to eat 8. So there'll be 8 that are given out.
Carry the one. Yeah, we got this.
And the thing was, is we also planned it on
people there.
Everybody was doing back to school, meet the teacher today. So that was a rough one too. Like everybody was meeting with the teacher.
It was short notice, but you still made sure that we celebrated, and we appreciate you for that.
Yeah, like straight up. There would have been no celebration if you didn't celebrate.
Yeah.
So you celebrate. We celebrate.
Joy.
Down in the heart. Where? It can't be bought, just to let you know.
I can't click on comments because I'm on the Boudin side of these things here. But look at
Boudin.
that.
Oh, yep. Boudin. Yep. I don't want to cover up
not Jimmy Dean.
Down here.
But Katie says that you make the best breakfast burritos.
No. Listen, listen. We gotta do
Listen,
breakfast
man,
quesadillas, okay? The quesadillas, bro. I'm telling you right now, with turkey sausage and some freaking, oh my god, boy! I'm telling you,
Prove it.
quesadillas.
Prove it.
I will. Oh, I'll prove it. All right, let's read some comments real quick. I got one down here. It says, "So funny. I too will blow through $1,200 quick, but I'll also make $7.26 last a week. Hey, it's about balance today, right? Yep, it sure is." Let's see. We got Katie says, get your kids back, but then you don't have time to even spend it with them. But put step work on the back burner and get completely overwhelmed. I had to take a pause and remember why and put focus back on what is important, my recovery and my kids. Yeah, we can get caught up, man. Get caught up doing the tasks, as I call them, doing all the tasks. But that's where we have to learn that balancing game, you know? And then sometimes that thing will get unbalanced, and then we're over here working ourselves to death, and we have to tune that mother trucker back up, you know? We got Rio says, bro, that's how it starts versus the Hope Shot app. Wait, hold on, wait. All right. And next it's gonna be brought to you by AG1 and Sleep 8. I don't know what those are, Rudolph. So and then we have
It's going to be brought to you by Nate's Piano.
we have Mark says, just man, you know what I want? I want to be able to go to Hooters where there's an hour wait and just pull up like Justin and be sitting there near right away. Yeah. Well, you know, one day, Mark, you come hang out with me. I'll show you the ways. There is no ways. But Nathan, what you got on the joy down in my heart? Where?
All right. Do I have an echo?
No. Do you want there to be? Hold on.
There is an echo. Huh. Okay. Sounded like an echo to me. Don't be nodding your head because I'll start believing it, man.
Bro, you're tripping, bro. Calm yourself.
Right.
Okay? You're tripping, bro.
Great topic. It's a little surreal to be back here. It feels like it's been a long time. I don't know.
Caesar, you see, he knocked off the dust and the cobwebs out of the corners of the screen.
I don't know.
Remodeling this thing.
I don't know when I'm more tired, like on a Wednesday or a Sunday night, you know? I'm not sure. Hit that piano, Nate. There it is. This is an awesome topic. I'm going to try to everybody that shared, it's, you guys hit it right on the head because it's difficult to tell somebody that's never had anything that material stuff is not important when they finally have access to it. You're telling me I haven't had a license. I haven't had a car. I haven't had my own cell phone. I can't keep jewelry. I sell that shit. You know what I mean? I don't have anything, and then I get into recovery and you're like, oh, it's not about the material stuff. Get the fuck out of here. This shit's important to me, man. I've never had it. I want some of it. And, but what I had a tendency of doing, like Caesar had kind of touched on, is, I equated being in recovery with, having these material blessings come back into my life, right? And, there's a saying in our fellowship, it says, when the spiritual malady is overcome, the physical and the mental will soon follow, right? And it has been my experience that when I got to the root and the causes of my disease and who I am and what makes me tick, that ended up being my truth as well. When I tapped in to something greater than me, I finally understood what joy meant. I had experienced happiness plenty. I experienced euphoria. And these things were most of the time artificial, and they were fleeting. They came and they went, you know? So, but I had never knew what joy was. I never really understood, you know, that joy and contentment. It's something that settles within your spirit, you know, and it doesn't go away. It becomes a part of who and what we are. And my only vehicle to experience that was through the steps, you know, and then really my vehicle to the steps was the fellowship. And what got me to a point where I could even consider, you know, trying any of those things was, you know, complete and absolute destruction, you know, desperation, you know, coming in here broken in a million pieces, and being finally open to something different, and taking the suggestions and doing this work and stripping away, you know, these layers of selfishness, self-centeredness, ego, insecurities, fears. Like Caesar said, look, no self-esteem, no self-worth, and tapping in. And as I'm stripping this away, I'm clearing the channel, right? So stuff can start getting through. I can start having this spiritual experience and connecting to this higher power that everybody's been talking about, that I think is a big joke. And when I finally start to experience this, I start to understand like that freedom, you know, namely from, you know, what we say, bondage of self. So freedom from self, you know, I'm able to finally experience some joy and some contentment in my life. And it's and it has nothing to do with external circumstances. You know, it has everything to do with my capacity to appreciate even the most trivial and simple of moments. It comes from being put in a position to participate in a relationship without trying to take something from it. You know, actually giving into a relationship, not going into wondering, how are you going to fill me? No, I get to go into a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's with my father, my partner, you know, my coworker, whatever the case might be. I have something to bring to the table today. You know, I can bring something. And I never knew that. I never had real relationships. I never knew what, you know, maybe when I was a kid, but I was still a selfish little bastard when I was a kid, man. You know, I still wanted something from that too. And it's the journey for me has been tapping into this power, right, that I choose to call God, and understanding that any joy I experience is in a direct relation to my connection with this power. You know, to the degree I am able to experience joy is how strong my spiritual connection is. Because if I am disconnected, the things that I should be extremely joyful about, I become cynical about. I'll bitch about. I'll whine about. You know, I've had this experience where, you know, I had my own business. I was, you know, on the road making a ton of money. Right, I had plenty of money, and I came off the road. I devoted myself full time to the Hope Shot and my family, and I have a lot less money, right? It doesn't matter how much I was making or how less I'm making. It is my relationship with money and my attachment to things that determines what I have left. It has nothing to do with the amount I'm making. It has everything to do with my behavior when it comes to it. And I've discovered that, you know, with the least amount in my bank account I've had since I've been sober, I'm the happiest I've ever been, because my relationships are true. You know, my commitments are made. I show up in my program. I show up with my sponsees. I show up for my work, my family. I am depended on. I am dependable. I have integrity and honesty. My life is service. I am living out my purpose on a daily basis, and the joy comes from my relationship, first and foremost with God. And it sounds so cheesy. If I were to hear myself saying this like 7 years ago, I would have laughed myself out of the room, because this is stuff I used to make fun of people about. Like talking about God, you're so square, right? And today I understand that it is that connection that has given me every single blessing in my life. And no matter how, where my bank account's at, where the struggle's at, if my connection is strong enough, it is impossible for me not to be grateful for the blessing that is my life, right? All I have to do is wake up and take a look around where I live. I don't know about you guys, but I spent 15 years in a 6x8 cell with another guy and 1,000 others outside that cell. And I couldn't go to a fridge. I couldn't wear whatever I wanted. I couldn't, walk out the door or get in my car. Like if I can get down and really strip away, what did I say in my focus the other day? If I can just take ego out of the equation, I can clearly see that I am not lacking anything, and that's what it is. It's the ego. It's what everybody talked about. I still have a tendency to look around me and think, like Caesar said, I should be further along than I am at my age, right? And if I can get back, to the great reality that my truth, which is this power is everything, then I understand on a soul level that I am exactly where I need to be at this point. And if I can keep my thoughts out of the past, keep my feet out of the future, and understand like where I'm at is where I belong, just as it is. I am enough. I have enough. And that's where the joy is. Caesar said a mouthful when he said, I don't know about it, but we take this for granted. The joy of putting my head down on that pillow at night and I fall asleep like this in moments. That was not my experience for 2+ decades, and to wake up and not have that fear of what am I going to do today? How do I get another one? Like, I don't experience that. I experience what I am so excited when I wake up. No coffee, just prayer, meditation, writing to God, and I'm ready to go. Yeah. And that's joy. It has and it has nothing to do. I mean, am I grateful for my material blessings? Absolutely. I'd be a fool not to be. But I know they don't define me as a person. I do not define my worth by what I have or don't have. Most days. Most days. Yeah.
I'm just gonna give you one example. You remember when you bought your car?
Oh God, yeah.
This is the best. No, because I can relate so much. As soon as you said it, I was like, bro.
Yeah. So for anybody that haven't heard this story yet, I get my first ever brand new car. Right? It's got like a couple thousand miles on it. 22 Tiguan R-Line. Thing is gorgeous. This thing is gorgeous. It's the best, nicest car I've ever had in my entire existence. As soon as I pull off the car lot onto 19, I see the Atlas Cross Sport, and I'm like, damn, I should have gotten that one.
It didn't even make it out of the parking lot before the gratitude wore off. Yeah. But that's exactly what I tell people, though. Is like the material things are fleeting. They're not going to keep you going. They're not going to fill you up. And I literally talked to somebody about this. Like if you when I first came in, if you had put 12 steps here let me do it this way, and put a list of like a job, a new car, and this and that next to it. They go, which one's going to help you? All day long, I'm picking the car and the job, all day long. And I'd been wrong every single time, but you have to live through it to get the experience to know. Like, I have to hit my head against the wall enough times to go, oh, wait, that's not the door for me. I got to take this one that looks really unappealing. And I have to do all this work. But eventually, when I come out the other side, it's way better than the door that I thought was the best door.
Yeah. I remember being in jail, not the first time, because the first time's still full of a lot of bitterness and blame and victim mentality. But the second time, when I was completely humbled, right, in the fetal position, surrendering, right, like, God, you have to take this. I remember the main thing that I prayed for was joy. I had been so sad. And I mean, of course, there was times when I laughed, right? And there was moments of happiness, but I didn't have joy in my heart. I didn't experience joy. Like, I was in my head constantly. And I remember being in that bed in the jail and praying for joy, for God to give me joy in my life again.
Yeah. I think I don't even want to talk about like the level of connection I'm able to experience today with Danielle, with the kids, with my friends, with my dad, with my brother. Like, what else could I ever possibly need? Like that, the freedom to be completely authentic and vulnerable with those that are closest to you has brought me so much joy, because I can finally be myself. I don't have to hide, and the joy and the freedom in those experiences and through those relationships, it just is such a beautiful thing to experience. It is a miracle that I don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to act a certain way. I get to show up exactly how I am and be accepted with unconditional love. And really, every single one of my relationships, in my fellowship, in my home, with my parents, at my job, it is that to me is joy. For a guy that has, hidden and been secretive and never told anybody who and what I was, and because I was ashamed of it, to the exact opposite, what a gift.
Yeah, I agree with you. The freedom that we get to experience on a daily basis by not having to cover up with the things, with the stuff. If my joy is contingent on what I have, I'm fucked. I am fucked. And like I say about my house, dude. Like, and this is a learned behavior. Like, especially, I remember in the beginning, dude, I wanted to get the things. I wanted the stuff. I had to catch up. Because I wasted so much time. Nate, you talked about that. Catching up because I wasted so much time. I needed the house. I needed to get married. I need to grow my business. I need all the flashy things, all the stuff, right? And then, like, I got the things, I got married, I worked my butt off nonstop to get married, and I got married. And in the same year, I freaking bought a house, and it's like, where does it end? Now I got those things and I still wasn't happy. It's like, damn, where is it going to stop? Where is it going to end? Where is it going to pick up? It's like, it's when you just relinquish all of that, just let it go, because it's not in anything. It's just like, there was a meme the other day that said it was never in the bottom of a bottle or a bag. Joy was never in the bottom of the bottle or a bag. And I was always searching for that in those things, thinking that it's going to make me better of a dancer, of a human, I was going to be able to talk to the girls, and like all these things, it was going to make me better. But when it wore off, I was still the same old G, and it's like, damn. So what you have to see like that, right? But the song popped in my head as I was spitting that out, just same old G. But then I'm right back into default mode of Justin, just square Justin that I hated everything about me. And as soon as I started loving me and giving myself a little, pouring into myself, that's when the freedom started, and the things don't even matter anymore. My house is not remodeled. It's got the green carpet from back in the day, and I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. The blinds are broken. I love it. I just love it.
Well, if we can if we can look to those things with the perspective of gratitude, you know, and with true awareness of where we were and where we are now, it doesn't matter. Green carpet, if I rent a house, if I own a house, what car.
You can go as far back as I woke up today and I wasn't mad that I woke up. You know what I'm saying? Like
It goes
there's
deep, man.
so much gratitude to be found every single day. I mean, we go down the rabbit hole of stuff and things, man, but like I have to take it all the way back to like bigger, nicer house, green carpet. I have a house. I have a freaking house that and it was so much greener and newer. You know, when we bought our first home, like I remember sitting there with Kelly and holding the remote for the garage. And I was like, Kelly, this button opens
just like
our garage door. I was like, you understand how cool that is? Like, it blew my mind because I didn't think that was in the cards for me. You know, like I was pretty sure I wasn't going to make it, or at best, I was going to spend the rest of my life in prison. And, you know, like the needs are met. And it doesn't get any better by adding more stuff. It gets better by adding experiences.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's all there is to it. And Justin's really, actually, Justin and Nathan both really have that part down pat. Instead of blowing all the money on another thing, go have an experience. Experience life, because there's one that's worthwhile. We missed a lot of life. And I'd rather spend money on building memories than things.
Yeah. I have a funny garage door opener story too that will so I get my garage door opener at this place, and I'm so excited, bro. I've always wanted to have the garage door opener on my visor.
Yeah.
Click it, and I got me and Danielle, we each got one, and I get the one that fucking rattles when I drive, and it drives me nuts. And this thing drew me crazy until now it's in my glove compartment because I can't hear it rattle. But that's it. That's the shit. That's the shit.
My God.
Stupid garage door opener.
I begged for this. I wanted this.
Well, you know, I feel like I have a lot of joy, but I don't wake up happy in the morning. So I think it might be a hormone thing, but
no. Nate wakes up happy. I'm with you. And I'm going to be honest, I wake up with what I would say is just untreated alcoholism. I wake up like,
I got to take a minute and go outside and be like, girl, you need to chill out. There is nothing wrong with you.
No, my way, it hasn't been.
I'm dead, Christina.
Listen, it hasn't been as bad for a little while now, but at one point, Kelly asked me, she was like, can you not cuss the moment you wake up? She's like, you're messing my morning up. Like, I would wake up and go, fuck.
Yeah.
But I was waking up at 4 something in the morning because I was trying to pack the gym in first and do this and do that. And finally, I was like, you know what, man, if I make it to the gym, I make it to the gym, like in the afternoon. It's okay. It's like, I'm not somewhere in my brain. I got lost. Like I was going to be competing on some national stage somewhere. Bro, I'm almost 50. I'm not competing on anything. Like just sit down and relax and drink your coffee and have a slow morning.
Yeah.
Who are you competing with?
I went to church and got a blessing. And the guy was like, I was like, listen, I wake up and I'm not grateful to wake up, you know? And he's like, try this, jump out of bed and say, hallelujah, it's going to be a great day. Right. So the next day I get out of bed, I'm like, hallelujah, it's a great day.
If I did that, Danielle would punch the shit out of me if I did that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm mostly in the dark, you know, trying to get things figured out, you know?
He's like, do it for 30 days and see if your perception don't change. But I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say he's wrong.
That's what's funny is we'll do anything else, but to jump up and feel awkward, like you jump up and be like, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You're by yourself, too. By yourself. Let's put that
the first time I prayed on my knees, I was like,
yeah.
Like,
who watching?
Who's watching? Right.
Bitch, God's watching. That's why you're doing it.
got issues. What can I say?
Yeah.
We all do. We all do. It's a human thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to wish Christina a happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
girl.
birthday to you. Thanks for spending it with us.
Yes.
And then we have what's up, Brooks? Good to see you, man. Joy, Jesus, others, yourself.
Amen.
That's right. And we have Debbie says, I don't like waking up.
I don't either.
Not a lot of people do.
Either.
Yes. Some people need coffee. A lot of it. Dude, and I felt it this morning. My coffee. Oh my gosh, I just remembered my coffee don't work. I have to go to Walmart. Dang it. My coffee maker. I don't know what's it's acting up. It's acting up, you know? And I'm sorry, but that will going to buy a coffee maker from Walmart's gonna bring me joy tomorrow morning. Okay.
Hey, I can teach you how to make cold brew. Once you go cold brew, real cold brew, you'll never go back.
All right, Caesar, I need you to come over.
I'm going to send you a link on what to buy, and I will be over as soon as it shows up. No, I'm telling you, Wayne changed my life with the cold brew. Like
Your life has been changed by cold brew.
Yeah. My coffee life. Let me be clear, my coffee life. And my coffee life is very important to me.
I know. We know.
Listen, it's important to everyone on the screen but you, sir.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I felt it this morning, dude. I was like,
you were the odd man out here.
Well, listen, you know what, Nathan? Like I really want to stop drinking coffee. Like I want to get up and like do like apple cider vinegar or lemon water.
Did you do that before? Christina, what happened before? What happened before?
I never drank coffee until I joined the church where you're a Mormon and you're not supposed to drink coffee. And now guess who's drinking coffee? Because I'm so rebellious. I never drank coffee ever. My last name's Coffee. It used to give me the jitters. I'd bite my nails. I'd go to the bathroom.
As long as there's not going to be a body count, you do whatever you want. But if you take my coffee away, there's going to be a body count.
Yeah, I don't know. I just started drinking it, and my goal is to not drink it.
Didn't you try to quit like not so long ago, and you're like almost murdered some people?
I've tried to drink a couple times. Quit a couple times.
See, body count.
But I did quit the energy drinks.
Good. Yeah. Caesar, how you doing?
Oh, hi, girls.
Yeah, Caesar, tell him what happens if I don't get my Diet Coke at lunch.
Same thing. Yeah. My man ran out of Rotary to make sure that he had his Diet Coke. So, I mean, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we all have our thing.
Yeah, we'll have things. So,
yeah.
All right, y'all. Man, this has been a great podcast. I really appreciate you guys coming on. And man, I'm so glad we're back, baby. I really am. I feel good. I got that joy down in my heart. Well, I need some people being my backup dancers or singers or something. I need some singers.
Down in my heart.
Down in my heart.
I'm done with this. He needs coffee.
Not tonight. I got to be able to sleep.
Yeah. All right, y'all, man. Thank you for being here. We love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday right here in the Hope Shop. Peace.